Welcome to Troy Stories, where the past gets loud. Every wound, every glory, I unpack it for the crowd. From the ridge to the river, from the trenches to the sea. Troy Story.
Hey everybody, this is Troy from Troy Stories, Out of Time, Fixated History, all the above.
All of it.
Yep. Gives me an opportunity to tell a little bit longer stories than I can do in the shorts. And there's just some really cool stories that come out of history that would die a death that being untold, So the one I want to tell today is from Chinese communist history, recent history.
Oh,
This is something that pretty much, I think probably 99% of Chinese school children know the story, but outside of China, maybe not.
I'd never heard this.
Yeah, so this is kind of like the Asterix for Americans. It's like, oh, well, every rest of the world knows. Why don't you? But so this is the story of the Luding Bridge. So this is set in the early 20th century China. So China has for centuries been ruled by the Qing dynasty since about 1639. It starts with a Q, the Qing dynasty. So the last emperor, and there's a really good movie called The Last Emperor about this character, Henry Puyi. Basically, Manchuria is taken over by the Japanese in the early 30s. So Henry Puyi was the last Qing emperor, and he was put out of power by the warlords. So they call this the warlord period, the teens and 20s of China. So these are armies that are basically kind of in numbering in the hundreds of thousands. So these are armies, formal armies with uniforms and supplies and things like that. The Qing dynasty, even though it was technically ruling China up till 1912, was really a paper on paper. China was ruled by these warlords. So there was a movement, the nationalist movement. And that's still,
we heard that before.
Yes. Well, this is the origin of Taiwan. So the province of Taiwan. So what ends up coming to pass is the Henry Puyi is put out of power. The Japanese invade northeastern China and take over Manchuria and call it Manchukuo. Put Henry Puyi in power as their puppet governor, and the nationalists in China were organized under their first leader, Sun Yat-sen, very famous guy. Chinese are like, yeah, and I've heard this so many times.
Yeah, they're not going to watch our show anyway.
But yeah, all two of them that eventually stumble across.
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
You never know. Never know. But so Sun Yat-sen passes away, and his general, Generalissimo, is Chiang Kai-shek. Well, Chiang Kai-shek loosely organizes this nationalist movement called the Kuomintang. And the Kuomintang are fiercely anti-communist. Well, coming up right alongside of this are the Chinese Communist Party. And they've got a bunch of different, I think 8 or 10 different enclaves, or more or less whole states, like an American state, set up all over different parts of China where they've established communist rule. So they're running their own government, their own bureaucracy, all of that, their own tax system inside of these pockets, these enclaves inside of China.
So, not to cut you off.
Yeah, no, please.
So these are states within China. Now, are they like a federal national thing, or is it?
No, these are breakaway communist enclaves with their own little armies. Yeah, and their own little governments trying to establish an overall communist government to take over all of China. But the Kuomintang aren't going away peacefully. They're fighting these guys. So this is the Chinese Civil War. And it's happening throughout the 30s while they're still trying to fight off the Japanese in northeastern China.
Yeah.
So there's a number of different initiatives that Chiang Kai-shek launches to try and reduce or destroy these enclaves. And he starts picking them off one by one. But eventually, there's this one big one in Jiangxi province, and they just can't break it. So what he decides to do, and these are big battles too. These aren't like 50 guys, with sticks beating on each other. These are armies, fighting.
So the you called it the Chinese Civil War. Now, is it like every man for like every state for themselves, or is it like
it's more or less the Kuomintang or the nationalists versus the communists?
Communists.
And the communists have these big states, these enclaves inside of China as their bases of support. The Kuomintang are more in favor of traditionalist virtues and values. The communists want to shake up everything. Now, keep in mind, 99% of the Chinese people are peasants. So only the top tier have land, have power, and they're the ones kind of organizing and helping run this Kuomintang. So they kind of want to keep things as they are, so they stay in power.
Right.
Well, the communists are like, no, we're doing away with these guys, and we're going to redistribute the land to the peasants. So every farmer has their own plot.
Now you just got an army with that one. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
Exactly. Well, not even have your own plot. We'll do it as a community. So the whole community will work all the fields, and everyone benefits. So they start, which is very popular. You've got nothing, and people are literally starving to death too.
Yeah.
So very popular cause, but nonetheless, they have these big programs, these big initiatives or offensives to get rid of these enclaves. Well, in 1934, they surround Jiangxi province, and Chiang Kai-shek sets up basically trench systems and blockhouses surrounding the entire area. So imagine like setting up a defensive barrier around the entire state of Tennessee and stopping anything from coming in or out.
Yeah, like
that's
one long trench, dog.
Yeah, exactly. So this isn't like a little we'll just do this week, and this is.
So instead of fortresses, like fortresses and walls,
like pillboxes,
they just have like little
machine gun bunkers and stuff like that to keep people from leaving.
Yeah,
because they're trying to, and they start squeezing it smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
Well, the communists, they're like, oh man, we're going to lose. Like nothing's coming in, nothing's going out, and 86,000 of them break out. They have this attack on one little point of the line, and they break out. And on the march. This is when Mao Zedong comes to power. So Chairman Mao establishes his leadership of this ragtag group, about 86,000 people, and they're being chased all through China. I mean, this is what they call the Long March. So the Long March is literally the PLA, the People's Liberation Army, the Communist Army. Excuse me.
Don't worry, I'll edit that out.
Yeah. But they end up making a trek all through Western China, and they double back on themselves. They're losing people the whole way. I mean, this is a very arduous thing. And as I said, the Kuomintang is attacking them the whole way.
Right.
They're not letting them go. Like they got them on the run. So they come up on the river that's blocking their pass. So the Kuomintang troops are on the far side, and this is a pretty substantial river with bluffs on each side.
Yeah.
So the communists, they come up on this river, they're blocked. And so they send a party of about 120 kilometers upstream, and they do this overnight. Overnight. Like these dudes, like in a day, they march.
I don't even like driving that far.
Exactly. Like I wouldn't even want to get on a plane. And by the time I got there, I need to take the rest of the afternoon off.
Hell yeah.
But so they end up coming up to a bridge, and on the far side, there's Kuomintang troops. They're like, damn. So they have to take this bridge, or otherwise the PLA is going to be surrounded and destroyed. So what they do is this assault group of 22 men come up to the Luding Bridge. Well, the Luding Bridge is 13 steel or iron chains. So imagine big old iron chains with big links that are stretched across about 100 meters long, this wide river. And on the bottom are these wooden planks so people can walk across. Well, what the Kuomintang troops are doing is they're burning those planks. So it's just the chains for most of the bridge. So the PLA troops, guess what these guys do?
What?
they start crawling across the chains while under fire.
Under fire, just crawling across the chains.
Crawling across the chains under machine gun fire, and they make it. They get to the far side. They secure the bank. The PLA is saved, and Mao Zedong and his army end up continuing their long march. And they eventually get to north central China.
Wow.
And at that point, they recuperate. And there's a wonderful book written by a guy named Edgar Snow.
Yeah.
Definitely recommend it. He's actually a Westerner, an American that was there with the PLA when their long march ended.
Wait,
just
so
after it ended.
An American guy was there when it happened?
Well, he interviewed the survivors of the Luding Bridge and wrote about it in his book, Red Star Over China.
That was their Omaha Beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is a famous story that all Chinese school children know.
Wow. That's crazy.
But again, if people don't tell these stories, nobody knows. They go away like it never happened.
That's why history's pixelated, my friend.
Exactly. So thank you for the opportunity to tell the story. Please please subscribe.
Yeah, please. Pretty please.
Thousands of stories to tell, not enough lifespan to tell them all in. So give me some ideas of things you'd like to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And this is something I've never heard the story before. Like, this is a story that honestly, like most, like I say, like 90% of the people that I know never heard this story before. So to hear the story.
And they made a movie. The Chinese made a movie of it.
We should copyright it right now.
Like, this is like, I think the closest thing Americans have is probably Washington crossing the Delaware. Like, everyone knows that story. Even if you don't know the surrounding events, you've heard about it.
Heard about it. Yeah. No, listen, this is first Troy story, Troy stories.
Yeah.
And let us know what you guys want to hear, what kind of or add on to what he's talking about.
Yeah, please do. I love the history of the PLA, and I got to put in a plug for one of my favorite YouTubers, Type 56.
Yes.
Love your content. Keep it going, man.
Yo, shout out to him. And
even though we're capitalist swine, we still have to.
Us capitalist swine love you.
Right. Kisses and hugs.
Kisses and hugs.